This is what I do. I'm a licensed real estate agent. I list a few houses, a handful of houses a year, but I'm a wholesaler. I do some rentals and some fix and flips. And right now, my opinion is I'm going to stay away from fix and flips this year. Maybe do one or two quick ones when they don't need that much work, because I think the market's going to change a little bit slowly but surely. Okay. And I own a dumpster company. So I'm running dumpsters. I got a driver and about 15 dumpsters, and we're delivering 3 to 5 a day. And that's a little bit about myself. And so I'm going to share my screen real fast and just, if everyone could see that. I got a couple of disclaimers. Real estate investing by nature is risky. You could win, lose, or break even. We can't guarantee a profit or loss. We do not provide legal, accounting, or contracting advice. So our disclaimer number 2, everything we say is a lie. If you want to try it out, anything we say, if it works for you, terrific. All right. So that's so you don't come back.
Said another way, don't sue us.
Exactly what I was. Yep, exactly. All right. So before we get started, I know we got a few people on the line. I know Graham, I talked to him for a minute. He's a new young 21-year-old, out of Clare, Michigan, and he wants to learn about wholesaling. Joe, have you wholesaled any deals yet? Tell us a little bit about you, please.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Joel. Should I turn my camera on?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. Can you guys see me?
Yes.
So as far as real estate, I've been around people who done real estate. I bought a course that teach me how to do wholesale real estate. I just want to better know how to do wholesale real estate. As far as any deals, I found this one deal, but it didn't really go through due to the fact I didn't know how to get in contact with the owner. But as far as that, I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and I go to like the local real estate meetups. So I'm just trying to, get my foot in the door, try to get my feet wet. And, I haven't done any deals as far as yet.
Okay. So what market are you in?
I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Okay, terrific.
Yeah.
And when you said you found your first deal and you couldn't get in touch with the seller?
Yeah, I couldn't get in touch with the seller. Like, I found this one vacant house and it said for sale. And then I typed in the address into this website called fastpeoplesearch.net.
Yeah.
And then it popped up like the previous owners of the house. But then when I called, they all went to voicemail. So I didn't want to go and knock because, it looked like a vacant house. But other than that,
Okay.
I've been trying to find other deals.
All right. Well, you took some action. Good job there.
Thank you.
And I can help you find that owner, no problem. So
Thank you.
if everyone could go into the chat and put in your name, phone number, email address, and the market you're in, and that way we could, save that information, and we could reach out to each other and maybe help each other out.
Perfect.
Awesome. And then J*18, can you tell us what market you're in and your experience, please?
In the St. Louis market, so I'm just now getting started. I was in the Southside Investment Club, so I'm just right now I work as a recruiter full time, so I've always wanted to learn about wholesale real estate, so I'm very interested.
Awesome. I'm glad you're here.
And you can call me Nita. My name's Janita, but you can call me Nita.
Okay, Nita, thank you. And then Charlene, how are you?
Fine.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about you, please.
Well, I started attending meetings more than a year ago with Carson Dimmick, Michael Heater, and yourself. And I have yet to do my first deal. So the biggest thing for me to do is focus on nothing but the deal. Stop worrying about this, that, and the other, and just focus on a deal. I've really developed, and I'm proud of myself of what I can do as far as deal analysis now. But I'm really anxious to team up.
Awesome. And where you're in the Detroit market, aren't you?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for joining and appreciate that. And then Eddie, how you doing? Eddie going once.
All right, I finally got to unmute myself. I'm doing good, man. How about you?
Doing well, thank you. Tell us a little bit about yourself so everyone gets to know you.
All right, I'm here in the Detroit market. Learned what I know about wholesaling from you and Mark, attending as many of these meetings as I possibly can. Have limited experience wholesaling. Plan to get more as I learn to focus and schedule my day better and actually take consistent daily action towards wholesaling as instead of a little bit here, stop, a little bit there, stop, a little bit here, stop.
Gotcha. Well, I'm gonna, I just so everyone knows, I actually, eventually, and I belong to a mastermind group. I have a coach in wholesaling, and it's not cheap, but since I've been doing it, I get, I've learned a lot, and they helped with my business and organizing my business. So I'm going to share one thing that I've learned today. So, and it's regarding lead generation. I learned a lot of things, but this is a really good tip. Okay. But, all right, perfect. And then lastly, there's someone else that joined and then we could get started. Eric, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Can you tell us what market you're in and any experience in wholesaling? Like, give us a little information about yourself, please.
Actually, I'm really new to this. I just got my real estate license and now I'm looking to actually learn wholesaling so I can begin, converting. I would like to be in the Detroit market.
Okay. Where do you live in the Detroit area?
No, right now I live in Clinton Township.
Okay. So you're not far, but awesome.
Mhm.
Awesome. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. And so today, like I was saying, we're going to talk about,
Wait, I get to say about where I'm at.
oh yeah, Mark. Sorry.
Yeah, my name's Mark Mappin. I'm in Southeast Michigan market. I've been wholesaling a long time. I'm probably could be a lot of you guys' grandfather. So I'm just here to help assist. When it comes to the Bandit sign part, I want to talk and I'll shut up. Glad you're all on.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, Mark, he didn't really tell you all about himself, but I mean, he's done everything from rentals to land contracts to subject tos, lease options. Now he does a lot of lead generation. That's what he's really good at, getting leads. So, and that's what we're talking about today. So there's a lot of ways of generating leads. I mean, dozens and dozens of ways. So my suggestion is you pick two ways, and you perfect those two ways. Perfect it, and then before you add another way, because you could get lost in doing a little bit of 10 different things instead of doing two things really, really good. Okay. And so first I'm going to talk about Bandit signs because, Mark is really good with Bandit signs. The lead, if some of you were on it, I got a phone call while we were right before we got started, and it was actually generated from a Bandit sign, one of Mark's Bandit signs. And I talked to the lady back in September 2020, and she remembered me and called me just now, and I'm going to go out there next week and get the deal. Okay, and then next month, I'll let you know, I'll give you guys an update on how that deal went. But Mark, can you talk a little bit about the Bandit signs and, the little history? I know you got a great story about, your son putting up the Bandit signs and all that good stuff. So
I do, yeah. So if everybody can see it, this is a Bandit sign. Here's another example. Whoops, can't show that one. It's got my phone number on it. Here's another example with a fake number in it. So these are small Bandit signs. Eddie, who's on the call with me last weekend, I think it was last weekend, we went out and put up probably 100 signs thereabouts. And when you go to put these signs up, if you're going to put them on a telephone pole like this one, then what you want to do is you want to use roofing nails like this, whoops, like this, 1-inch roofing nails, and you want to spread them out, put them like this, like a zigzag pattern, like some to the right and then some to the left. And then you're just going to pre-punch these. So in the back seat of my car, I had, like probably 100 signs. Then we had signs that had these straps on the back, like I don't know what you call these, but you put them in and you pull them tight so you can put them around a pole or a fence. And it just depended upon what the circumstance was on which sign we used. I think that the best sign for me is I buy houses for cash. Very simple. You don't want to put a lot of writing on them because people are driving by. You want to put your Bandit signs at the end of a street, like where the street's exiting, or where there's a stop sign. You could even put the straps around the stop sign, or you could put them in a fence there, or you could put them, on. We actually drove the neighborhood. We found an area that had brick homes, and there was usually at least in one block, there'd be one brick home that was vacant. So Eddie, who's on the call, was taking down the address and the information. He was writing stuff down, like the roof's got a blue tarp on it or whatever, so we're looking for distress situations or vacant homes. In some cases, we'd actually put the Bandit sign. If the house was bad enough, we'd just leave the Bandit sign right on the house, tack it in, so that that the person would know who to call. And what else about Bandit signs? So like, let's say you're in an area where the Bandit signs are policed very carefully, then you're going to go to like the liquor stores, the service stations, and you're going to have your Bandit signs face the pumps or the people coming out of the stores, because the area doesn't want Bandit signs, but you're on private property there. And usually in Detroit, people who run service stations that don't really care. So that's how we'll go into better areas and do it. So that system worked well. I think Eddie was on a listing appointment as a result of a sign call, or it could have been in one of our map location calls this week. He's been going out on that. So that's kind of my story about Bandit signs. If you want to get the best place I found to buy Bandit signs is a site called signcheap.net, signcheap.net. And I put that into the search parameters there. And that's about all I got to say about this.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark.
Oh, yeah, one more thing. So let me tell you my negative thing that happened to me. Never once since I've been putting Bandit signs out have I ever had a problem, because I know where I put them out, and I put them out places where you don't upset them. You're not going to go in a neighborhood where they've got manicured lawns and start putting Bandit signs up all over the place, because you're going to get in trouble. So you've got to be careful in your placement. I paid my son $2,000 to put up, well, it was actually more than that. He ended up putting up 2,000 Bandit signs. And I got a call from the police telling me that I was in trouble because my son wasn't selective. He didn't mind if he put it in front of the mayor's house. And a lot of people put Bandit signs up along the road where you're doing 40 miles an hour on main arteries. I don't do that. And I've never had a problem. But in my son's case, I couldn't go get the signs down. I ended up getting arraigned 18 times in the city of Detroit, 18 times in Inkster. And that was a real learning lesson for me. So they work great, but you got to be careful with where you place them.
Awesome. Yep. Yeah. So I've used Bandit signs in the past, and you could put a bunch in your car and say, look, I'm going to put out, I used to put out like 10 a day when I was driving on the streets and things like that. I put them on abandoned homes. So definitely Bandit signs works. Sometimes if you're in some cities that don't You gotta be very careful that don't allow them. You could put them out on a Friday. You could see where other people are putting different type of signs out, like a guy might be a painter. So he might put a Bandit sign that says, "We paint houses, free estimates." So then you might put your sign next to his. And then you put them out like on a Friday night and you pick them up on a Sunday night, something like that, or a Monday morning or something. So you just got to remember where you put them. But that's definitely one of the ways to, is all right. So one of the ways to generate leads is Bandit signs. Okay. So I'm going to go, there's a lot of them. So I'm going to go over a lot of them and then I'm going to talk about a few. And then we're going to take, at the very end, we'll take, 20, 30 minutes, answer any questions that anyone might have and take it from there. All right. So there's where to get leads from. So in my opinion, a number one way of getting leads is networking. Okay. Going to networking events, talking to real estate agents, and what do you say to a real estate agent? Because I would say 90% of the real estate agents either don't know what wholesaling is, don't like wholesalers, think it's against the law, okay? Things like that, which none of that's true. So, but you could talk to a agent and you tell them who you are. If you're new to the game or if you're experienced, like most of the people on here are new to the game. So if I would talk to a real estate agent, I'll tell them who I am. I'll say, "How you doing? My name's Eddie. I work with an investor that buys a lot of properties. He likes to buy off-market properties and he buys them in any condition and he can close fast. So if you got any properties that you don't want to list or they need too much work or they're in really bad condition, it doesn't matter the situation. We'll make sure you get paid." Okay. Repeat that a couple of times. We will make sure you'll get paid. We'll buy it. We'll close it. We'll go through our title company. You'll get paid at closing. And once you show them that you can, close and they get paid, they're going to send you more off-market deals. A lot of real estate agents don't want to list junky houses. They don't want to list houses for 20 grand because they don't make any money. They do more work. All right. So all they got to do is make a phone call, boom, to you. And then you tell them you have investors that you work with that buy those type of homes. So you're networking with other real estate agents. That's huge. All right. You go to a meetup, you talk to other lead generation people. You talk to people and say, "Look, do you have any old leads I could call? Or do you have any leads that you haven't called that I could call? And we could work out something together. Maybe you'll split it 50-50 with them." So networking, friends and family, going to the store, tell people what you do. I advertise. I wear this every day. TC Deals Detroit. I got sweatshirts, I got t-shirts, I got hats. Everyone knows I am an investor and I'm buying houses. So if I'm in a store by my house, I talk to the owner of the store, the owner of the gas station. I ask them, "Man, are you interested in buying houses? Do you sell houses? Do you know anyone that wants to sell a house?" And I'm always talking to people. So you got to get yourself out there and tell everybody. Okay. So there's another way. All right. So going to foreclosure auctions. All right. I work those every week. There's a mortgage foreclosure auctions in every county every week. And so you could call the owners that people are losing their house. You could call pre-foreclosures. There's all kinds of lists you could buy to make cold calls. Okay. What is a cold call? A cold call is when you skip trade, you get someone's name and number, or you get a list of someone's name, homeowners that have, whatever they might have, they might be tired landlords, meaning they don't live in the property and the house might be vacant, it might be rented, it might need work, they might be behind on taxes, and you call the owners, okay? And so you're just calling them and seeing if they're interested in selling their house, okay? So driving for dollars is another, that's one of the best ways for people that are just starting in the business, is driving for dollars. So what is driving for dollars? You take a neighborhood and you drive all up and down the neighborhood, all up and down the streets, and you're looking for houses that have no pride of ownership, okay? So houses that might have a bad roof, that might have junk in the front yard, the grass is really high, broken windows, they don't have blinds in the windows, they have newspapers, they have sheets, you know, just no pride of ownership there. And you wanna write down the address, and you know, so you can skip trace, find out who the owner is, and get their phone number so you could call them and you could text them, you could send them letters, okay? And the letters, I mean, it's simple what you say, and we'll go over that in one of our other how to make a lead, you know, we'll do that again. But today I'm just showing you different ways of, you know, to generate leads. But driving for dollars is very important. So, but you can even take it a step further. Instead of just driving for dollars, why not get out of your car, go up to the house with a letter and knock on the door, okay? Knock on the door and someone answers the door, you tell them who you are. Hi, ma'am, how you doing? My name's Todd. And, you know, I'm a real estate investor, and I'm looking to buy another property in this area. And I was just wondering if you're looking to, you know, if you're looking to sell, if you're looking for a cash offer. And you just start communicating with them, talk to them, see what they have to say. And they might say, you know, I don't own the house. I'm just renting. Oh, wonderful. How long you been renting? How's your landlord? Is your landlord, you know, don't put words in their mouth, but they don't like their landlord. You say, well, maybe I could buy it from your landlord and I could, you know, I could fix the house up some, give you a nicer house, blah, 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 and try to get the name and number of the landlord, okay? If I happen to buy the house, I could give you a few dollars for the referral, you know, so you're just talking to them. If they don't want to sell, you're not going to force someone to sell, okay? If someone has no intentions in selling, they're not going to sell. But you can always ask them. I always ask them if they say, no, we're not looking to sell. Say, okay, well, maybe not now, but in the next, how about in the next 6 months, 12 months? You ever thought about selling then? No, we're going to be here for a while. Okay, I got you. Well, if you ever, you know, here's my letter. If you ever know somebody that might be looking to sell, because we're helping out a lot of people. It doesn't matter the situation, doesn't matter the condition. We're buying, you know, and helping out a lot of people. So if you know somebody terrific, please pass my information. Do you know anyone on this block? And you start looking at the block that, you know, that might be renting, or that, you know, someone might have passed away and the family might be selling. You start talking to them about that also. Okay. All right. So here's, yeah. All right. That's a great question, Joel. How should we hide the fact we are wholesalers? Yeah. So you don't have to mention that you're a wholesaler, because now you know me. I buy houses all the time. I don't just wholesale the houses. So you could always tell them that you work with investors. You don't have to say, look, I'm going to buy your house. I'm going to pay cash. I'm going to close fast. You know, I would rather say, look, how you doing? My name's Joel. I'm an investor and I'm working with an investor and we're buying a lot of properties and we pay cash and we close fast and blah, 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 blah. Okay. You don't have to tell them you're wholesaling it. You can say you work with investors, which is you do, the investor that's buying it's going to be another investor you work with. Another tip, I guess I would say, let's say someone wants 30 grand for their house. And, I'm not sure if I can even sell it for 35,000. So I'm trying to get it for 25 grand. Let's just follow me here. So I might go to Mrs. Jones. I say, hi, Mrs. Jones, for me to buy the house, I'm going to be completely transparent with you. I got to be at $18,000. And I know you want 30. We're pretty far off. Would that be, anything that would work for you? 99% of the time, they're going to say no, and you say, I understand that completely, 100%. But I work with other investors. They call me all the time because I can't buy all the houses. They actually pay more than I do. And I got to be at 18, but they're going to be closer to the number you want. What is the least amount you would consider? They're at 30 grand. Let's say you settle around 25, 26,000. You could say wonderful, because at 25,000, what I could do is I could show this to a few of my investors that I really know well, that I think will be really interested in the property. These investors, they're out of town. One of them actually is out of Miami. One's in Canada. And the other one's local. But I could get, their guys here to take a look at it. And I could get you that 26,000 that you're looking for. Is that something that would work for you? It'd take me about, get them through here within the next 10 days, we set something up. Is that okay with you? Boom. They're going to say yes. You lock it in. Now, what does that say? You told her that you're not buying the property. You got investors that you work with that would be interested in buying that property. Okay. So that's how I would maybe do that, go into a real low number where you would have to be to buy that property, where they're not going to take it. Now, if they took it at 18,000, fine. It sounds, you got someone that's going to pay 22, 23,000. So you get that number real low, they're not going to say yes, then go into telling them about your investor friends that always are bugging you for houses, because that's, you're looking at so many different houses. You can only buy, one or two, a week. So, but you're looking at 10 to 20 a week. And so you're passing them on to your investor friends and they pay more and da, 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 da. Okay. So that's a good way of doing it.
I have a question. Have you ever used LinkedIn Sales Navigator to generate leads?
I have not. What do you know about it?
So I know a couple real estate investors, they have contacted me before when they were trying to buy houses, and LinkedIn Sales Navigator, it's a B2B business. So basically you can search companies, you can search people just to send cold emails to.
Okay. Yeah. I could see how that could probably work. And what are we looking at? What are we looking for? We're looking for we're looking to solve someone's problem. We're not buying houses that are all fixed up where people don't need to sell. Okay. If they don't need to sell, you're not going to get that deal at a price where you could do something with it. Okay. So we need someone that's distressed or has a situation that you could solve. They might have lost their job, going through a divorce. The house needs too much work. They're behind on their mortgage, taxes. They're moving out of state. They're moving to another job. They need to get out of town. whatever. Those are the houses that I come across that I buy. But if someone just might be interested in selling because they want to know what their house is worth, it's a waste of time. Okay. But yeah, I'll look into LinkedIn. That's a good, I know a lot of people that sell a lot of properties using LinkedIn, you know, because there's a lot of investors and people all over the place. Okay, so appreciate that. All right, so now you could find leads off for sale by owners is another good way of getting leads. Craigslist is another good way of getting leads. So, and let's see, we talked about Bandit signs. So even getting the learn or meeting attorneys, okay, people that do probates, and things like that. Those are always trying to create a relationship with attorneys and letting them know that you're buying houses. When they have a house that a family member is inheriting a house, a couple houses in Detroit that the wife or the family doesn't want, and they, you know, they might be abandoned and things like that, you'll be the first person they call. So probate attorneys, divorce lawyers are definitely a good source, you know, meeting people like that. People at, you know, we have a good friend that's a bailiff. All right, so he's going to, he sees when landlords are trying to evict their tenants, that's the best time to reach the landlord is when their tenant is, you know, they're trying to evict them, they're spending all this money to evict them, and the house is falling apart and they got to fix it back up. Then you step in and you buy the house, you know, at a good price. Expired listings on the MLS, if you're a real estate agent, you could get that information. And I could go in a neighborhood and find all the non-owner occupied right off the MLS and get the addresses and the names and skip trace them and call them, you know. So that's another good way. Like I like working non-owner occupied properties where the owner is, you know, like a landlord or they live out of state. Those are really good. Okay. So have you heard of virtual assistants? Or let's say it this way. Let me know if you haven't heard of a virtual assistant. Anyone? It sounds like everyone knows what a virtual assistant is, which is a short for VA. A VA is someone that might be in the Philippines, they could be in state, they could be in Mexico, and they make phone call, or India, you know, they make phone calls for you.
Yeah,
Like,
Todd, can I share a little? I'm currently using a virtual assistant. I shopped everywhere to find her. And where I ended up finding her was on Fiverr. And we interviewed about 20 people on Fiverr. And I found her. She sounds like she's British or she's Australian. Perfect voice. And I'm not going to say what country she's in, but my cost for that virtual assistant's $3 an hour, which is incredible. And she makes calls. I use a software called PropStream. We'll go in and do searches for, I just did searches in Detroit for owners that own multiple properties that live out of state that are tax delinquent. And they've probably got some of their properties they're in trouble with. So now she's calling those people to ask them if just the same thing you taught us to say, you know, hi, I'm working with, you know, in that area, da, 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 da. So, but I got to say that that has not proven to be, it's proven to be good for me because my costs are so low with it, but it's not my number one way to find properties.
Right. Yeah, because Mark, you're I've had VAs in the past. I'm not a fan. Let me tell you why. Is because to be successful with VAs, you got to train them up every day. You got to be having meetings with them. You got to be listening to their phone calls. You got to be telling them what they're doing right and telling them what they're doing wrong and train them. So when they're not successful, it's really not their fault. And call this list and think that they're going to be, they're going to be able to do it without any training. So it's something you got to stay on top of. And I don't have the time for that. So that's why my VAs were never very successful the way I wanted them to be. No one's going to be as good as you on the phone. But there's another service that I use. So this is one of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about that I've learned through my mastermind group. There's a service out there that is their job is to train VAs. All right. They take that responsibility of having good VAs, training them, listening to them, making sure they're doing their job, making the phone calls. And I'll give you the pricing of what something like this costs. It's really not that much, in my opinion, if it works, which it's going to work, or it does work. So to give you an example, they will call 1,000 numbers, 1,000 people a day, 1,000 people a day. Okay. So it's not one person, it's a bunch of multiple people doing this. And they skip trade, they'll get you pre-foreclosures, whatever you need, they'll skip trace it, and they'll get the list and they'll get the names and phone numbers. The reason why I want them to do it, and I don't want to provide it for them, so there's no excuses. Because if they don't perform, they're going to say, well, your list sucks, your phone numbers suck. So as long as if they provide the list, they provide the phone numbers, and they provide the virtual assistant, and they're training them, okay, and they're calling 1,000 people a day. They say you'll be very successful. You'll get warm leads, because what they do is they pre-qualify it and bring you leads. They get, the condition of the property, the timeline of when they want to sell, their motivation to sell, and the price. That's what we're looking for every time we make a lead, those 4 things, or 3 of the 4 things. And they turn them over
What
to you.
system did you say this was again?
The company is called, it's called REI Leads USA. REI Leads USA. And if you like you could go to reileadsusa.com. Let them know you know me. I know the guy. I met him personally, my coach. But what does this cost? $1,700 a month to call 1,000 numbers, calls per day. All right. And they have different packages. My coach calls 8,000 a day. And that's like $9,000 a month for something like that. So, but 1,000 is more than plenty. I'll put it in there, Graham. It's REI Leads USA.com. All right. So I'm not telling you guys to do it, but it made sense to me. $1,700 a month, and they'll call 1,000 leads a day. Well, that's a great question, Joel. You're spending $1,700 a month. If you get one deal and you make, $5,000, and out of 1,000 calls a day, I make more. I'm looking for 2 to 3 deals a week off of something like that. Okay, so let's say you get 10 deals a month. and you end up closing 6 or 7, it's well worth it. Well worth it. If you close one deal, you're doing better. So it takes about a 90 days. You got to give anything a good 90 days to see if it really works. So, but so that way I don't have the time to train VAs. Even if I did, one VA cannot make 1,000 calls a day. You're gonna have to have probably 3 or 4 VAs to do that consistently. And you got to keep on them to make sure they do well. So anyways, I learned that, and we just implemented this. We're on our first month. And next month, I'll let you know how we're doing on it. Okay. So I'm not trying to sell it. I'm just telling you something that I do.
Hey,
And
Todd.
yes.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Just a quick question. I was just wondering, since you've been on it for a month now, have you gotten any quality leads from it thus far?
Well, we start on Tuesday next week is our
Oh,
first.
okay.
So we just, it took us about a week to get it in motion. So they haven't even started yet. So,
Okay, thanks.
so I could, next month or next week, I do a weekly tip of the day. I'll let you guys know. I know it's going to do well.